And Chris is in meetings. You can't have a lunch when you're in meetings all day. So Matt was kind enough to plug himself in and put himself up on the table and is on the TV. So thanks, Matt, for joining us.
Oh, sure.
And I tore you away, I know, from some preparation. So Indie Heat, we're going to do some more Outgunned tomorrow. Our 80s, the sequel to the 80s buddy cop movie is coming. So yeah, that should
I
be
put
good.
that down. I put that down a couple hours ago. You hit that point where you're like, this is just as good as it gets. And
Right.
if they hate it, they hate it.
Yeah, that's a real yeah, you do have to kind of do that. And I think, creative stuff is kind of like that too. You just have to it's done when you just put it down. It's done when you walk away from it. And nothing feels worse than like over preparing, for something, like doing way too much and then realizing all that time you spent like didn't create any fun because it was just, you just kind of over worried. And I do that a lot with wanting to make combat maps and things in alchemy, realizing, well, there may not be combat and we don't, it's kind of abstracted anyhow. So yeah, it doesn't seem worth the time.
I actually kind of was thinking of our Fallout game as I was doing it because I was like, yeah, there could be combat here, but probably not. Do I really want to build a whole tactical map
Right.
for maybe?
Yeah.
And I was like, no. So I only did that on certain ones, But
Yeah, but alchemy is very forgiving too, because almost any scene you can flip over to a combat map. It just blurs the scene in the background, and you still kind of have something visual to to put tokens on. So I like that they allow for that. And let's hello again. Welcome back to Vero. So Vero is in the chat, and thank you for becoming a supporter. And we also have a new weekling this week. So that's why the title is covered up with the title is covered up at the top of the screen with our latest weekling. So welcome, Tasty Halome, to our Patreon, and Casey Nedry. Welcome back to Patreon. So Casey was gone for a while, but came back as a conspirator.
Casey.
Yeah, as a conspirator. So thank you so much for that big support. Really appreciate it.
I like some grilled halloumi cheese.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Some Cyprus goat cheese. That's some good deal. But yeah, thanks so much for the support. And it makes things like what we did yesterday possible. So with the affiliate credit for Drive Through RPG, Will and I were able to take a look at Daggerheart, although we'll probably regret it until our dying day. So an interesting, very similar to Candela Obscura in the way they're kind of stepping into the genre, but not overcommitting, and things feel very sanitized, very safe, very, they want to welcome new players, not freak you out, but made things a little unnecessarily complicated in some ways. I think for people that have never played an RPG, like the damage system and stuff is going to be a little much. There'll be a little, okay, what now? What do I do with, hope, armor, what? Yeah. It's,
for dedicated 5e folks, it'll be an adjustment.
Yeah.
But,
coming from 5e, I think it's a little silly.
Let me just say, because I don't think you've looked at the Discord recently.
No.
That video had ripple effects, man.
Yeah.
The riffing on the animal peoples, and Arturo has he's created a persona for himself, Jason Momoa. Is it Momoa or Mumoa? I can't remember. But yeah, they made their fearful bovine people, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's like one of them as a barbarian or something.
Oh, we are now going to have to play Daggerheart, aren't we?
He wants to guest as Jason Momoa or Mumoa. Type it out in the chat, Arturo, so I say it.
Oh man, Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, and I had that thought that I posted in the chat. I wonder if they intentionally were thinking about that, indie movement of heartbreakers, like people doing fantasy RPGs that are indie releases that, are never going to be Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like people, that whole indie tradition of doing, so not really OSR, more like, trying to do, your own fantasy RPG. And we've had we've seen successful versions of that, but I think for a while they were called Heartbreakers. So I think maybe Daggerheart there's some kind of, the naming of that is a little odd. So there's got to be something there.
Earl said it's spelled Mumoa, but pronounced Momu. You bastard.
Nice. Well, that was fun. I'm glad you guys had a fun
It was fun.
hangout.
I'm glad I'll be honest. I'm glad I was just hanging out in the chat with these guys because I told you, I think I would have probably just been echoing a lot of what Will was saying, but I don't have the even temper that Will has, so I would have been I probably would have been a little more mean spirited about some of it.
Right.
I did notice. I don't know how much do you want to do this before we start.
Oh no,
but the art, right? So I was kind of cheesing the art because it was so like 5e.
Yeah.
Technically good, but nothing unique or challenging about any of the art. And nothing to give you a feel for what the themes were going to be, really.
Right.
But then once you got to the back part, the Game Master section, there was better art. There was more interesting art.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious. So the player-facing stuff is going to have all this boring-ass 5e art in it. But then you get in the back and you get the black and white drawings. And you get more dark images. And it's like, wait a minute. Put that in the front. How do you think Shadowheart got where it got?
No, that's a really good point, and I wonder why they did that. Because the that first part, up to the Game Master section for the players, like the first 100 pages or a little bit less than that, it's very inoffensive, very standard fantasy stuff. It because of the range of like animal heritages and stuff, it doesn't have that. It doesn't look as heavy-handed like a university brochure where you have to represent the rainbow of people that a lot of RPGs do. But it's got it is a real kind of boring kind of. It doesn't inspire much. That interesting part where it was very standard, like the digital painting, and then when they're describing the heritages, they had a whole range of little pencil sketches to show like every variation of body type or whatever for a specific heritage. So that was interesting. So they were just trying to say, don't limit yourself. Whatever you can think of, it's fine. And they didn't flesh it all out in finished color art, but they had a huge just like a sketchbook. It looked like a sketchbook page based on one of those heritages. So, but it then kind of made it like, well, what are these things anyhow, and how can they be so like physically deviating so much physically? Are they all tree frogs? No, they're not all tree frogs. Are they all great apes? No, they're tree monkeys and smaller other species. But I guess
their species variation, and then especially when you got into that section where they showed the mixed ones.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It all feels like surface cool that you better not think about too much.
Right.
Like, how did you impregnate that mushroom?
Right. Yeah, I mean, they're just bringing up, even more bizarre issues.
Yeah,
at least they didn't have any half human, that's the thing that they avoided. It's making something half human, half fungus. Very odd. But, so I don't know. It seems like, they're enthusiastic about it, and they've got some, they get some money so they can keep putting time into it. But I wonder where it's gonna go. I think it'll just be like everything else. They'll be using it on their channel, and I think that was kind of the point. Like after we had gotten through the whole book, I realized, they just they have a huge business now. They have a lot of income, and why would they promote anybody else's stuff now? There's no reason to play other people's games, unless it's Wendy's or whatever that's going to cut them a big check. Why aren't they playing their own stuff that they can say, play the game we're playing, go to our store. It helped to kind of like, rein in the whole community. Then it can be more, connected. But
I want you to know that I don't know if you saw it in the messages, but Arturo also became a chronicler tier
oh,
on Patreon.
oh, thank you, Arturo. I didn't see that. Thank you so much. Big thanks. Yes. Yeah, that's a wonderful tier. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
He really wants to play Jason Momoa with us in a Daggerheart.
Okay.
One shot. So
okay, let's put something together. Yeah, if
we'll do it.
Yeah, we should do it. We've got the rules now.
I am totally down to be Mr. Toad.
Oh man, what's Will gonna come up with? Which one of those crazy animals?
We'll just be an old man human wizard. That's his go-to.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So I'll take a look at that and see, and it'll be because we could be silly with it, like not have to take it so particularly seriously, and just kind of test the system, see if it actually works. See if because that was the thing we kept running into. Maybe part of the naming of the game as well is they're trying to do crunchy combat and storytelling with mechanics, like with so. The two things that what was interesting is Chris and I a while ago when we were talking about like 5E's 6S, we're saying that at some point they might actually need to make D&D 2 games, like a storytelling game and then a simulationist crunchy game, because those two things are not super compatible. But Daggerheart seems to think you can kind of mash them together and it'll all work out just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it seems from just listening to you guys, the system seems like it's gonna work. It's functional. But, it's just not necessarily my bag.
Right.
And some of it, like the real fuzzy wuzziness of the species and stuff like that, like maybe you just. Sounds like you people just want to play Fate.
Yeah, right.
Where you just write down some phrases about your character and nobody asks you any questions.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because that experiences thing, feels like that a bit too. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. Oh, I did, of course, off stream. I was so exhausted after we got through the PDF. I didn't click the right place in Roll20, but the integration is awesome between Roll20 and Nexus, because in that menu, since I just selected, the game system was Daggerheart, I went to add a character. It has import from Demiplane, and you just click that button. It shows you all your characters in Demiplane, and you can just choose which one to bring into this game. And it's perfect. It's exactly the same graphically. The character sheet is exactly like it is in Demiplane. So all the dynamic little scrolling windows and buttons and everything. So yeah, it was well executed. I'm sorry I couldn't get that working to show on stream. But it's interesting too, because then all the characters in the character list that were imported from Demiplane have a little blue D next to them, so they exist on that platform as well. So and the thing we don't know is, do they update? If you're updating on Roll20, does that then sync? Because there is a sync button between Roll20 and Demiplane, so that might be pretty handy. When it goes wrong, though, just like we're experiencing with Alchemy, when saving your character sheet goes wrong, it doesn't. It makes the whole thing seem pointless. When
Will's got a brand new computer, so hopefully he'll have fewer problems.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, hopefully the Chrome issue. Yeah, and if he just installs the like you've been saying, if he just installs the app, it seems to work pretty flawlessly.
Oh, and I figured out, I was going to tell him tomorrow. I figured out, how he always had that problem where if I played a sound in
Mm.
alchemy as action, he wouldn't hear it.
Hmm.
He would have to press the play button.
Hmm.
Well, I figured out that in alchemy, if you don't have the journal scrolled down to present
Hmm.
and I play a sound, you won't hear it.
Ah.
You have to then scroll to the present
Hmm.
and hit
Hmm.
the play button.
I
So
see.
I bet you he was just never caught up in the journal
Right.
thing. And
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder, that would be nice if they had a setting where it would constantly keep you, at the bottom of the journal. And then if you miss something, you could scroll back. But it seems like it would
yeah,
be more important to be at the end and see the latest roll, especially for when I'm streaming and stuff. Yeah, I'm always clicking that, the refresh or that recent version. But yeah, great to see everybody in the chat. Yeah, thanks so much for the support. Nice. Yes, yes. Arturo in the oh yeah, just refresh. Thank you so much. Yeah, excellent. I appreciate everybody on Patreon that showed up. Yeah, for a while there. So we've got a ton of free. So we got to do some really good content to entice, because we got a ton of free Patreon followers. So we'll have to do some nice content to get them interested, or at least showing what's going on. So do you think? I was wondering, should I release the Daggerheart thing as audio? Do you think that's an interesting enough conversation, or it was too visual? Did we refer to the images and
I,
things in the book
I
too
think there's
much?
a lot of visual stuff in
Yeah.
that one.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering how useful that would
There was a
be.
lot of talk about the art and the layout and
Right. Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
specific species design, and it
Yeah.
would be
So
tough.
yeah, that's a good point. All right. So should we do this for this week? Yeah, good to see everybody. Let me just double check. I think I've got two two chats bleeding together again, of course. Oh yeah, this is the Daggerheart chat. So I've got the I don't know why it doesn't refresh. That's weird. When you stop it and then restart it, it doesn't refresh.
Is that your combined chat
Yeah,
that's
that's the
doing
combined chat. Yeah.
it?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna take a look in the in the
You missed
YouTube.
like three Arturo puns already.
Yes, I know. What am I doing? All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so good. Yeah, good to see everyone. Calerion and Arturo and dude Rivero. Thank you so much. That was very, very good to see you again. Big surprise. And yeah, let's do it for this week. All right. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
Not bad.
Hey, Matt. Oh, do that one more.
Hello.
Do that one more time. You kind of crackled. Let's restart all over again. One more time. We'll cut this out. We'll cut this out. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, beautiful.
Hello.
And this week on the weekly, where the hell are my notes? Okay, there we go. Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you for our newest weekling. So, Tasty Halloumi is now now part of the Patreon weekling tier, and thank you also to Arturo and Casey for joining the Patreon at the chronicler level. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. But this week on the weekly, Wizkids refunds, Modern Age May for Green Ronin, Slam Throne, get your pogs out, and the new classes for Dragonheart. Dragonheart. Will and I were calling it Dragonheart before we started the recording yesterday. Daggerheart. Daggerheart already has two new classes, and they already broke that wheel that they designed so nicely in their book. All right, so let's start with the some Wizkids and Wizards of the Coast bashing. Yeah, so no tariff talk this week, just some bad stuff from China. Anyhow, Wizkids offers full refunds for a a collection of miniatures that people were excited about. And of course, in the typical WizKid style, they're those lovely pre-painted ones. They did not meet the expectations or of that or of Wizards of the Coast, their partner. So pre-painted miniatures have been WizKid's thing for a long time. And it's just kind of, if you don't have the time for the hobby, if you don't want to assemble miniatures off of a sprue, you don't want to paint, this is at least colorful miniatures on the tabletop. But they're produced in a factory with who knows what kind of labor they're even using, and you get really the quality is just not very reliable. You get really inconsistent quality of painting. So they are offering full refunds on their Baldur's Gate 3 character boxed set. So, quote from Wizkids, "We missed the mark on this goal with the D&D Icons of the Realm Baldur's Gate 3 character box set. If you purchase this set through our online store, we will be offering a full refund to those who are unsatisfied with their set. To begin the request, please contact customer service at whizkids.com." So, yes, it's posted on their social media. And yeah, it's a strange thing because these really aren't even that cheap. Like when I haven't bought any WizKids, miniatures in forever. And I think, didn't they do, because they did HeroClix, right? That was their first. And they also did Mage Knight. They did the pre-painted miniatures in the Mage Knight board game. And, those are just okay. They're probably a little bit better standard than some of them. And I think, like they're saying, they can't get consistent results from the factory anymore. So they were flooded with requests on social media and mostly pictures about the quality, and even people involved in the Baldur's Gate video game, Baldur's Gate 3, made some comments. So they also went on to say, "Please accept our sincerest apologies for the frustration and disappointment these quality issues caused our customers." The apology concludes, "We too feel the same, as the final product did not meet our expectations and that of Wizards of the Coast. Our teams are working to find the best solutions to resolve this for all involved and to work with you, our customers, to fix this. We appreciate your patience as we focus on getting back to those affected and helping them with their refunds." So this all got started because of posts on social media. And the thing that's a little strange, so if you don't have the time or want to spend the money to kind of get a painting setup going on, this is an option. The kind of, melty face, globby looking WizKids miniature. Yes. And, but this box was $50. So it's 7 miniatures for $50. So around $7.10 a figure. That's still not cheap for that really low quality. I mean, board game miniatures should be less than $1 a piece unpainted. You're adding $6 on for those few blobs of paint. It's pretty pricey. I was surprised. And also, the one thing that people attacked as well is WizKids uses really, probably studio painted miniatures to demo what this set is going to look like. So egregiously misleading promotional material they've been accused of, because they'll show a really well painted miniature, but when you open the box, that's not what you get. And it also talks about a fundamental kind of misunderstanding of who was the target for this, the target market for this. It's not the people that just want to dump out miniatures, on a grid, on a battle map to play in a session. So they just need stuff to fill certain roles. These were probably fans of the video game, the Baldur's Gate 3 video game, that were collectors of everything and all the merchandise that was supporting that game. So, okay, cool, a set of miniatures of all the main characters of that game, and then they saw how poor quality they were. Muddily painted, cheap looking, affordable but smeary faced, I think is what somebody called them. But the funniest thing was the senior cinematic artist, Elodie Celesi, posted on his social media, "Only Gale has a decent face." And talking about it's expensive for a 5-year-old quality of painting. So painting the quality of a 5-year-old, shame on you, Wizards and D&D, on his social media, calling them out for making those characters look so terrible. And it's a funny thing because there is better technology. I don't understand why WizKids is leaning on this cheap plastic, blobbily painted factory work. I mean, pre-painted miniatures, a lot of companies have failed and a lot of games have failed because they chose a pre-painted miniatures route because it is so expensive, and to keep the quality high, I think it's got to be a real challenge because you're probably rejecting a lot of a lot of shipments of things that just don't meet a certain standard. So that's got to be really frustrating. I think it's put a lot of games out of business. WizKids has managed to hang in there with it, but now with the newer technology, where basically, you can wrap a 3D map, around a printed miniature, where you can 3D print in color. That there's all kinds of processes out there that hopefully they're exploring, but it will just eliminate this dependency on this cheap labor in these Chinese factories and this like really mediocre. I mean, people have just been accepting for decades this mediocre output, and just like what WizKids quality is. If you stand a couple yards back from the table, it looks fine.
Yeah.
It's the right color of the costume or whatever. But it's strange that they've just accepted this low quality standard and not a cheap price. It's like cheap. I guess if you sent an unpainted miniature to a studio to paint, they would probably come back with a $20 or $30 per miniature price. But it's cheap compared to that, but not really worth it.
Mm-mm.
But so that was very funny that they generated so much anger online, and then they immediately thought they needed to address it. They should have just responded, "Hey, we're WizKids. What did you expect?" Instead of saying, "Oh, please, yes, this didn't meet our high quality standards either." That was kind of funny. But it's sort of connected to this. There was a really funny. So Patrick on the Patreon sent me this link to a PC Gamer article, and I guess the editorial staff at PC Gamer is just like, let's just tear down Wizards of the Coast. Let's just go after them, because they've really been doing a lot of negative articles about Wizards of the Coast, and the latest one is titled "Dungeons and Dragons might be, if the trend continues, one of the most mishandled success stories I've ever seen." So the piece goes on just talking about all of the missteps and how, and I guess this is on the level of Disney's handling of Star Wars. Like, they had a golden goose and they just couldn't get it to lay any eggs without letting them smash on the floor. So the PC Gamer piece goes on to talk about, basically they had such great success with Baldur's Gate 3. Some reviewer of that game said it's the pinnacle of the genre. Like, it's as good as Larian has done, and it was the IP connected to Dungeons and Dragons. So that's like the biggest success they're ever going to have. And they just said, "Oh yeah, we want more of that." I don't think they're not going to recreate that combination ever again. And of course, criticizing they've, leaned in since the beginning of 5th edition to the world's greatest role-playing game. And basically 5e just being, it's a kind of a jack of all trades game. It does a little bit of everything. And especially when they, let you kind of bolt on, healing surges and old rules from previous editions. And the best quote from the article was, it's the "should we just get pizza?" Kind of like that's the type of TTRPG it is. It's like, well, we could have a nice dinner, but there is McDonald's, or we don't want to go anywhere. Should we just get pizza? And so let's just play D&D instead of actually spending the effort to find something that would match our play style or fit our group better. So and it's the same way kind of McDonald's takes advantage of your biggest limitation in your hobbies, which is time, your free time. It's just like, yeah, okay, we know this game, we played it before, let's just keep playing it. So it's the should we just get pizza of tabletop. And the other criticism of they didn't feel confident enough with their success with 5e to do anything after this 10 years of success. So they basically just said, here's the same game for another 10 years. Let's get a couple of the creators to oversee this, and then do a revised edition, and we'll coast on this for 10 years, and they'll leave the company. They're going to go away. Yeah, and the thing that might be confusing Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, they mentioned in the article, Magic the Gathering, has a enormous value for just existing. It doesn't have to necessarily be that good. As long as they just keep churning out cards, they're going to make money because so many people are on this competitive, deck building wheel, and they'll buy boxes of these cards just because they come out. And then also the other thing that I think has Hasbro very confused is Monopoly Go, the mobile game, has at its peak, it had a monthly haul of $200 million. So Dungeons and Dragons is never going to do $200 million in a month, even if it's it's the best month ever. And of course, their Honor Among Thieves kind of stumble at the box office. Yeah, so the comparison was they made about $58 million in profit from the Dungeons and Dragons movie, and that's a little over a fourth of a month of profit from Monopoly Go. So of course Hasbro is looking at a profit from a cinematic release, not seeing how it helps the brand, how it like cements it as an entertainment property, and just says, yeah, but could we get more out of it? Is there a way we can, like, in the theater be doing microtransactions to the viewers of the movie? And so yeah, then they go on to talk about they kind of forced Critical Role to become its own thing. The OGL fiasco. Larian immediately went on to better things after doing the biggest hit for them they're ever going to see in video games. And then they bought D&D Beyond, haven't really done anything with it from what it was originally built as, and then they strapped on now they've just strapped on Sigil to an incomplete and now dead in the water VTT. So PC Gamer having taking a couple swipes at Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast. And yeah, they end the article talking about any game system, product, or company would kill for Dungeons and Dragons like ubiquity and household name. And so, yeah, it is, I guess, in a way very similar to McDonald's. It's the name. Ray Kroc bought the name McDonald's. He didn't buy, anything else. He just wanted that name. So when Wizards of the Coast bought D&D, they just wanted Dungeons and Dragons. They didn't care what they were going to be, what you're going to be playing or what that's going to be slapped on the top of. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny for a PC gaming website. They sure do not like Wizards of the Coast.
So apparently, Wizards made $90 million on their licensing for Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm sure Chris Cox doesn't think that's enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah, compared to like but mobile games are a disease. Like these microtransaction mobile games, they're a thing that many governments and everybody have, said this is gambling for children. We're not doing this. And eventually it's not going to be, anything that you can push on children. I mean, I think now there's, a little less care about what we subject children to, but hopefully that's going to change. And that just won't be a revenue stream for them. But who knows?
Shifting gears back to Wizkids, though, I looked it up because I had a suspicion, and I was right. Wizkids is Mage Knight is 25 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, Will and I were playing that back in the day, and what's funny is it's just they haven't really changed their formula for their minis at all in 25 years. It's the same shitty soft miniatures with with the really sloppy painting. But one thing they didn't really do in Mage Knight is they didn't bother with faces.
Oh, yeah, right.
They would do like a base coat and a wash. And like, so you just whatevered it. And I think people's eyes are just naturally going to notice problems with faces. And so when they try to do faces and it looks like a psychopathic 3-year-old painted them,
right?
People are gonna notice and comment,
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
and it's weird that because they haven't changed the minis at all, and but the prices certainly have gone up. Like, I think when it started, we were buying Mage Knight booster boxes, which was like this little long box that had like, I think 5 minis in
Oh,
it
uh-huh.
for like $12.
Wow. Wow, yeah.
Right. And now you're talking about them costing about $7
Yeah,
each.
yeah.
That's crazy. I know it's been 25 years, but they haven't improved their
Mhm.
materials
Right.
or their methods.
Mhm.
So it's like,
And they
I think they've just been writing this
yeah.
whole thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It seems like everybody connected to Dungeons and Dragons, yeah, has just been writing it because they release these collectors sets, but they don't like spend more money to produce them. They're done the same cheap way, just like Hasbro did with Hero Quest. You think Hero Quest would have been a time to like up the production and experiment with using better materials and things like Kickstarter board games do, and they just didn't. They just used the same cheap stuff that goes into their copies of Candyland in Walmart. They really are stuck with their weird manufacturing choices. But yeah, there's definitely better options out there. So I don't know why they wouldn't make the change. But and it would be interesting to know how many miniatures an individual worker in one of those factories has to paint in a day. I bet it's like 1,000, or but it's like an insane amount of just going down the line doing eyes on that many
Yeah.
characters per hour. It's just got to be insane.
I don't want to think about that dumb wizard that much. Ugh.
Yeah, right.
Um, they they could have, well, maybe if they were willing to change how they do things, which obviously they aren't. Imagine if they had done just a little higher quality miniature
Hmm.
and sold it two ways. Sold it with a premium paint
Hmm.
job
Hmm.
for some ridiculous amount of money,
Right.
and what nice board games are doing now, where you get like that sun drop kind of
Oh
finish.
yeah.
So you have two different ways to sell it
Hmm.
at different price points. No one would get angry. I mean, people would probably get angry when they saw the price tag for the nicely painted ones,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
they'll have that option to get the other ones.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, and it would, if they did a really premium version, it was kind of a limited edition, that would make the other one seem cheaper. It would make the oh well, I'll just go with the cheap option, because that's much more affordable than $25 or whatever for a well painted miniature. Well, speaking of Mage Knight being 25 years old, another company is 25 years old this year, and that would be Green Ronin. So this May, I don't know if you've celebrated yet, but this May is Modern Age May. So of course, Fantasy Age and Everything Age, Dragon Age, Everything Age is Green Ronin, and so that system, though, their modern system that basically you can play cyberpunk or more, contemporary settings, it has only been around for 7 years. The company itself is celebrating its 25th anniversary, and there's a blog post on their website from one of the designers that worked on Modern Age, and said, yeah, that was the first project that they were there when they started on, when they joined, and they worked with Chris Paramus, Matthew Dawkins, Megan Fitzgerald, Crystal Frazier, and many others to produce their Modern Age setting. Some setting books such as Lazarus and Threefold, and then they released a companion, Aliens and Allies. So a lot of support for this modern age game system. And I guess the most recent kind of setting was their or what they call a genre or model book, Cyberpunk Slice. So yeah, it's you can, and of course, this is one of those, you can do everything in this system, kind of not quite as simulationist as GURPS, but that kind of thing. So Modern Age can pretty much do anything you want it to, but to escape the tone issues of some of the RPGs are presented as generic. So some of their options, and you can add different things like cyberpunk or whatever to be more flavorful and provide atmosphere and guidance. So why are we talking about this? Well, partially they're celebrating the anniversary, but they also have a bundle available. So a pretty decent price for the physical books on their website. So I'll put a link to the. You can either go to Free Ronin, Drive Through RPG, or the web shop for Green Ronin, and they have a big bundle. And I think they're going to do this with kind of all of their settings throughout the year. Is each month kind of celebrate one of those settings. Sorry, I mean systems. Yeah, one of their systems. And yes, so May was Modern Age. So Modern Age, May for Green Ronin. And I think we, sorry, wait a minute.
Dying over there.
I'm choking. All right, there we go. So every month I think they're going to celebrate a different game or whatever. And I think the Expanse system, the Expanse was the first to use the modern system that Green Ronin did. It was one of the their first IPs that they used this for. So, the Expanse and Cthulhu Awakens, which is their more contemporary Cthulhu game. So, yeah, I'll put a link in the description to that, and we'll see what happens next month. So get ready for, I don't know, something June from Green Ronin. But, it's amazing to think so many of these companies that seem still young and new, are all 25 years old. They all started around, late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, I think... that age system that they use, although they don't use it for their Mutants and Masterminds game, they're still doing like D20 on that one. But that age system, I think, originally was the engine made for the Dragon Age TTRPG.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then it. Fuck it. Excuse me. Will Wheaton did like an actual play of the Dragon Age game, which was lame as hell. And then that hit. So then they did Fantasy Age.
I see.
Right. And now they've evolved it into all these other things, which is actually kind of cool that they made a system that they can stretch into different things.
Right. Yeah. Does Green Ronin also do the Witcher? Oh no, that's Telsarian. No, that's Telsarian.
Yeah, that's kind of sort of the cyberpunk system.
Yeah, right. That's right. All right, but So happy birthday, Green Ronin. But yeah, talking about things in the 90s. Oh no, we're going back to this. So I kind of missed this as a fad. I think my little brother got caught up a little bit in it. But do you remember Pogs? Well, so they were and I think this, I remember reading somewhere that this started in Hawaii, like because they still had like an old milk delivery kind of standard thing. So old milk bottles used to have a cardboard, like a maybe wax on one side, kind of cardboard cap that was the only thing kind of sealing it. That was your only hygienic, when it came from the dairy, that was the only thing hygienically sealing it. And so once you opened the bottle, you didn't have any need for that cap anymore. The bottle just went right straight in the fridge. So those milk caps, that kind of I don't know, like a 2-inch square, 1.5-inch square, 1.5-inch round cap became a thing kids would collect and play with. And once the companies figured that out, they would put more interesting graphics and things on them, and then companies just started producing them as a kids game just on their own, just like little cardboard discs. So it's a stack of cardboard discs that you then take a larger plastic, your slammer, and throw down on the top of a stack of these. And if they come down, if they land graphic side up, they're fine. You get to keep them. If you get them to flip over, then you get to take them. So you can it's kind of like battling trading cards and stealing other people's collections. You're just slamming their little colorful cardboard discs.
It's 2D marbles.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the flattened marbles, and that's right. Because marbles, you take the marbles as well, and so that's the origin of it. If you're too young to know, if you weren't born in the 90s or born before the 90s, you wouldn't have known about it. And so it was a collection thing. And I think probably in the 90s there were probably every IP you could imagine came on a Pog, and so the company that does Slam Dice, a kind of fantasy-themed combat game using dice, is now doing is now doing their Slam Throne. So Slam Throne is a Pogs version, is an RPG based Pogs version. It's got really fun art. They have really good, whatever studio or whatever in-house artist they use, they do really fun, bright art. And so basically they're going to sell sets, and they're trying to give a little bit of an RPG mechanic to Pogs. So the stack of your Pogs is based on your health. So whatever character, so the Slammer has the graphic for your character. That will tell you how many health they have. That's how tall of a stack of Pogs they get, their health stack. So their Hero Slammer is the hard plastic disc that you throw down, and it has character art on both sides and different abilities on each side. So the abilities can be passive, but they can also be catch abilities. So what is a catch ability? So basically, you reduce the health of your enemy by flipping over their Pogs, and reducing the stack and taking them. So you take turns hitting the top of the stack with the hard plastic slammer and taking what's left until somebody, you flip over all of their Pogs. And so the special abilities allow you to do different things. The passive abilities allow you to do different things or give you certain benefits, maybe recover some health or something. But the catch ability means you have to slam the hero Pog and then also catch it in midair before it hits the table. So I guess like jacks, right? And then that triggers that ability. So whatever it says on the Pog for the catch ability, you can use that ability, but only if you've caught the slammer Pog. So not high level, not deeply strategic, not multifaceted, a very simple kind of, fantasy brawl between a barbarian and a wizard and an orc. And so they will be debuting. So if you want to be the first one to see this game in action, they will be debuting it at Gen Con this year. And it's fun and colorful, and their dice, or is it? Yeah, I'm sorry, it's Dice Throne, I think. Dice Throne game is actually really well supported. Like they have merchandise and a ton of different systems. They have like a campaign system with that, as well as just a PvP kind of style. Mm. But yeah.
So in the 90s, Pogs were always the thing that at least where I was, your friendly local comic book store guy would always be trying to get you to try.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, I'm cool, man. I'm just gonna buy my copy of Hellboy and move on.
Yeah.
Dexterity games are funny. They're never. Well, okay, I take it back. If you play a lot of games, nerdy games, whatever. Dexterity games are never as fun as you think they're going to be.
Right.
Like, every couple of years, because, like, Will and me and a couple of our friends that play locally we've turned this game room of Will's into just a public library where we leave our shit all the time. And we have the Catacombs, which was a flicking dungeon delving game. And we have this other one that's called Disc Duelers, which is a really silly flicking hero game.
Right.
And we used to have a Western one, but I think we just ditched that one. But it's like every year or two, someone will go, "Hey, we should play Catacombs. We haven't played that in a long time." We're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that with the flicking." Okay, and we get it out and we play it, and then afterwards, we're like, "Yeah, that's not." Right. It's not really a good game.
Yeah, it's funny. And it's funny that a lot of indie RPGs have embraced the, some kind of dexterity thing, like the Jenga tower, or in the recent game that's being kickstarted, the Job, the heist game, you stack dice. You make a tower of dice that if something happens to that, it has a game mechanic effect. Yeah, so it's funny how people try to keep wanting to include, and I guess because it adds some sort of variety, but you're right, it's never as fun as you think it's going to be, and it's kind of very inconsistent with how it works in the game. You think it might,
and some people are real particular when they're playing like a competitive game, and you can't be particular when you're just flicking things around on a board,
right? Yeah.
You have to own that it's a silly game.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Can I do that again? Oh, sure. Yeah, well, yeah, right. Yeah, that's very true. But if you like Pogs, or if you want to see what the heck this is, I'm sure there's going to be a giant booth with big graphics for this game. Yeah, so this is the company is Dice Throne, and I guess they're named after their original game, and then Slam Throne is their latest creation. So yeah, I don't think Pogs are coming back, but yeah, at least they're going after that dexterity nostalgia game.
good luck to them.
Yes, good luck. But lastly, so we did a flip through and kind of discussion of Daggerheart. So Daggerheart was just released. I think people that pre-ordered it, they got physical copies. It's going to retail in early June. In like friendly local game stores, but Daggerheart is out in the wild, at least the core book. But already there are playtestable new character classes, so they're already expanding the game, and they talked a little bit to Darrington Press about this. So yeah, May 20th, we got the release of Daggerheart. So this is the Darrington Press, which is Critical Role's, kind of publisher. And Spencer Stark is kind of the head of their, and he did Alice is Missing, and he is also working with the creator of Blades in the Dark on this. So there's some collaboration with some, kind of indie darlings to do this. And yeah, their result was okay. You can watch. I'll put a link to the live stream if you want to watch that. It'll be probably recommended on the channel as well. So the day after the release, they shared new playtest materials, and they built a website that they're calling The Void. So they're just going to post the kind of newest things, playtest materials, and kind of that's going to be their place where they communicate with the players, kind of get feedback, and they offer everything for download, the new playtest packages and things. So they talked to Spencer Stark, and he said, so we're currently working on the stuff that comes next. And he also said they had plenty of material from the early design stages that just didn't make the final cut of the core book. So there's a lot more to come. And I guess it's good to see that they're going to keep supporting it. So the two classes that they're releasing now for playtesting are Warlocks and Fighters, and they kind of resemble what you would think, in the D&D classes. And that was one thing that was interesting in the core book, is they avoided a lot of direct analog. Like I think in your stats, strength was the only one that was named the same thing in D&D, and a lot of the abilities and things they tried to make it different. And of course, all the heritages, their word for race, were different except dwarf, elf, and human. Everything else had its own flavor. So the mechanic that they're adding with these two new classes is called favor. So if you weren't excited about generating fear and hope, now you can also generate favor. So your warlock, with whoever they're committed to, whatever horrible horrible demon or deity they're committed to, will gain favor points that they can spend to do different things. So the two subclasses for warlock are Pact of the Endless and Pact of the Wrathful. So basically, Endless will just give you could shake off damage and basically probably blood heal, basically, and the Pact of the Wrathful will let you. Oh, and that was the thing that I was surprised. We didn't see anything about reroll, so none of the mechanics seemed to support any sort of rerolling. There was advantage and disadvantage, but no reroll. This will add a reroll mechanic. So if you are a Pact of the Wrathful Warlock, you can reroll missed attacks and reroll damage dice. So that was the only, and maybe there are some subclasses that have that, but that was the first time I noticed reroll in the game mechanic. So that's interesting that they'll do that, because then aren't you also generating, maybe it specifically says you're not generating any other points when you're re-rolling. And then the fighter,
maybe you have to re-roll the 20-sided like the DM.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right. And then the fighter class is divided into the Juggernaut and the Martial Artist. And of course, they put a little halfling in his little gi for the character art on the playtest materials. So yeah, you have to have a Kung Fu Bilbo to make it all worthwhile. So they'll specialize in unarmed strikes. They're going to roll a D10 plus their tier for physical damage and do multi-hits and things. So kind of stuff you would expect. So yeah, and also the Martial Artists will of course have stances. So just to add all of that. So they didn't say how long the surveys are going to be out for this playtest, and there's no telling when they're going to be actually integrated as official classes. But the full documents are on the Void, the Darrington Press website, and I'll also put a link if you just want to have a look at what they tried to do with this game. The SRD is available. So I'll put a link to the Daggerheart SRD. So that's basically the rules without all the artwork or any of the adventure frameworks or anything. Any of their creative stuff. It's just the mechanics, of the system without any layout or art. But yeah.
I have two follow-ups and then a snarky comment.
Okay. Yes.
Follow-up number one is, it seems to me like literally after your guys's, or maybe even, no, I guess it was in the after credits talk yesterday. It came up as like, unlike most new games, there is no reroll mechanic in this game. But now they're going to have one, but it's only for one class. That seems messed up.
Yeah, it might be in there because we didn't go through like what each ability for each subclass can do, but I didn't see any, like in the core mechanics there is no basic reroll feature. So yeah, it just may be buried. I want to play the reroll subclass, so yeah. I don't know. Good point though.
And then in that release, did they say anything about how they're going to wedge them into their wheel of stuff?
Yeah, no, they didn't, because they will have to share, like they'll have shared, forgetting what they called it, like things, flavors. They have these effects that either are the type of ability or the type of magic. They're either magic abilities or just abilities, like physical abilities, like maybe basically magic and martial realms or whatever. But they're themed like bone and nature and spectral. They're not elemental, but they're kind of have these like schools of abilities. And they made a nice wheel, and they had nice even numbers, so the classes and subclasses all shared these different domains. I think they're called domains, shared these different domains, and now they've got two more that they're going to have to somehow wedge into there and show you what domains they're sharing, because each of the ability has a domain that it's flavored by. And they did a nice job, Will pointed out, with the card art, that the domains have a real strong color identification. So just glancing at a card, it has a golden yellow tone. That's going to be for this healing domain. And the very white ivory, that's going to be the bone domain. And the brown will be for some elemental thing. So there's a lot of nice identification they did in the design. But yeah, they built a perfect a perfect circle that was divided like a pie chart with all of the domains and classes. And now they just broke it. So we'll see. And that may explain why they didn't make the final cut on the core book.
Now my snarky thing. When do you think Daggerheart was announced?
Oh, jeez.
Don't Google it.
Yeah. It's a while ago, feels like. Because I remember... some talk about, they're working on their own system. Wow, what's that going to mean?
When was it officially announced?
Officially announced. I will guess. I gotta get the pandemic out of the way. I'll say 2021.
No. Mm-hmm. It was officially announced as a thing we're gonna do. February 10th, 2025.
Really? I thought for the longest time they were talking about, because they did the setting book for 5e.
I think they were letting little things slip.
Yeah. But the official announcement really was this year. Wow.
Okay, here's the better one. This is gonna probably burn some souls in chat. When do you think MCDM was officially announced?
Right after he left Wizards of the Coast. That I would guess 2020.
February 1st, 2018.
18. Wow. Yeah, so well before.
And which one's available right now?
Um
Daggerheart.
Wow. Yeah, and that could be, that system could be something they're infinitely going to tinker with, because like when you watch his videos, the MCDM videos, it seems like they're just constantly talking about what, what's cool and what they could do, and yeah, it's maybe like a never-ending homebrew.
Mm-hmm.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't. I feel like I don't know. It's weird. Like the people that decided to make a game to chase D&D players because of all the OGL and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should have just made a different thing. Like,
Yeah.
because Tales of the Valiant,
Mm.
nobody talks about that anymore.
Right.
MCDM is who knows,
Mm-hmm.
like, and this came out. Props to them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, and this may have been, more of a for money project that people, who knows how they're funding and how they're really dealing with the contractors and the work for the MCDM. But I bet Daggerheart was just like, okay, we're going to pay these guys because they got some good names, involved. So we're going to pay these guys. We're going to get this art done. And they basically treat it like a real project that they were going to release as a publisher. No crowdfunding, no doodling around with how many millions of dollars we can get, how many late pledges and whatever. So I bet they had a different approach to it, a more professional approach, perhaps. But yeah, that's very funny. Oh, and a quick note: this is more video game related, but it made me laugh because Embracer Group is no longer a thing. So I don't think we're going to be talking about it anymore. So, Embracer Group just recently has broken up this like two remaining. So they were spinning everything off, and the thing that was Embracer Group, that remained Embracer Group, is now being spun off between Coffee Stain Group, which will have 250 studios and games, I think mostly video game publishers and studios, under its kind of umbrella, and the other half of Embracer is going to be rebranded as Fellowship Entertainment, and they'll be handling all the rest of the studios, including Lord of the Rings and Hobbit-related things, and the MMO, I guess they're working on. But there is no more Embracer Group. They're not going to be calling themselves Embracer anymore, which is a shame because that is such a sinister, horrible name. So now it's the friendly and lovable Fellowship Entertainment. Oh, geez. They're so sweet. But I thought that was a funny side note. Not enough to talk about for very long, but the end of Embracer as we know it, because they've done nothing but lose money and failed to get funding from Saudi Arabia. All right. So that is going to do it this week. Thanks again to Tasty Halloumi for becoming a weekling. And you can become a weekling too if you head over to patreon.com/upturntable. So the weekling tier tells us, you can tell us the kind of things you want to see on our weekly kind of news roundup, and also other things that you'd want to have us talk about. The channel has other tiers, based on lore videos, actual plays, any other stuff that we're doing. And Matt, where can people find you?
Real quick, also thanks to Arturo for becoming a chronicler.
Yes, thank you.
On Patreon, and thanks to Vero for coming back from the wilderness.
Yes,
and becoming a subscriber.
Yeah,
member.
Yes, member on YouTube. Yes, thank you.
But you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky. It's at Hargold, HARGALD. Where usually I'm promoting the stuff we're doing, like the Daggerheart talk yesterday, and stuff with this Outgun Adventures Indie Heat sequel we're going to be playing soon,
Nice.
and our Fallout games, which have been a lot of fun. and just generally talking about the industry a little bit. How about you?
Oh, I am doing my single panel gag cartoon on a live stream. It'll show up on this channel. It'll happen sometime before the end of May. It's called Abuse Cartoons. You can read the cartoon on gocomics.com/domestic abuse and Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch. And quick re-notification. Thanks again, Vero, for becoming a member. And thanks to everyone on the Patreon, Arturo and Casey. That means a lot. And of course, Tasty Halloumi. And we will be back again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, and we're back. So thanks to everyone. The Patreons hasn't seen so much action in years. I really appreciate everybody supporting us. That helps a lot, and it lets us do silly things like Daggerheart, which now I think we're going to play because Arturo's character creation has already begun.
The Jason Momoa must be realized.
Yeah, it seems like with the silly animal stuff, like it's just demanding AI art because that's the only way you can do the silly, the kind of stupid combinations of things that the game demands.
What
That's
am
very
I
funny.
on the Patreon? Oh, I'm an influencer. I outrank you, Arturo.
Nice. Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's great to
Can,
see.
can I do a real nerdy actually thing
Oh,
really
sure,
quick?
sure, yeah.
So one of my attempted minors in school was historical linguistics.
Oh, uh
Big fan, but like most things in my life, I'd never followed through.
huh.
But warlock, the term,
Hmm.
it's from Old English, and it actually means oath breaker.
Hmm.
So whenever all these 5e kids and now Daggerheart kids make their warlock who's got some pact with some entity,
Hmm.
that's the complete opposite of what a warlock should be doing.
Oh, wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of the meaning was they got their power by betraying, by breaking some pact
Yeah,
instead of.
it was a religious connotation. It was
Mhm.
like you you betrayed your oath to God or
Right, right.
whatever.
Interesting.
So Q star with rainbow. The more you know.
Yeah, we need that. I need that on a key. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that was the thing that early Idle Red Hands did a fun job of that. They would pick something like a character class or something like Warlock and talk about the history of it and, probably the linguistic origins and, what that means and how you should use it in games. And there are a lot of like things that have just kind of been culturally, genericized or anglified or whatever and just, brought in to tabletop games, and we don't even know basically the origins. You just have this image because of how it's been represented in
Yeah, there's a lot
games.
of folk etymology stuff where a word is introduced from another language
Hmm. Hmm.
and people don't really know what it means, so they guess,
Right.
and that guess becomes popular enough that that's what it means in that language,
Hmm. Right, right. Yeah, linguistics is funny that way. If everybody mispronounces something, that becomes the pronunciation. It's just the mob rule. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I was looking for Southern rock tracks. I sent you a couple of those for for our stream tomorrow. Want to have some fun intro music?
Yeah, those are good. I liked them.
Yeah, I could see like opening credits. Listening to those, I was just like, oh yeah, that's that sounds like opening credits for this movie. Headed down Texas way. I hope we don't go too much further. Oh man, we're gonna be dragged into it, aren't we? We're gonna go to the source of the cocaine.
Not in part two.
Okay,
No.
okay, okay, okay. Nice.
However, I don't want to reveal anything, but
Mm-mm.
I did that little survey in Discord
Yes.
where I listed 80s like cliches or whatever, and one of the ones that got the one that got the second most votes will be in this
Oh,
adventure.
okay. Nice. 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 Oh, hey, Rob. Rob is in the chat. Yeah, Rob is
Mhm.
asking. Yeah, yeah. What is the etymology for word lack? Oh, yeah. So yeah, yeah. So he's
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's word like your word, not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
I see. I see.
Old English is awesome for that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like if you've read Beowulf or anything, you'll know. But like, I can't remember what they call them, but um, there's a term for these word mashups that they do in Old English. So like the ocean is the whale road.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your body is the bone house. It's these cool descriptive mashups that are
Interesting.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the thing that I think people enjoy about kanji in Japanese is the pieces of meaning and stuff, like how they how characters were assembled, and of course it's all like Chinese derivation. But it's yeah, the combinations of things you can almost guess by looking at the character what it's going to pertain to by the like the little pieces of the letter. So instead of like having it phonetically assembled, it's pictorially assembled.
Kennings. Thank you, Robert. Yes, Kennings. They are called Kennings.
Ah, okay, okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, I forget where I heard that, but the like when you brought up Beowulf, the derivation of that, the wolf of bees, because it's bad luck to say bear. So for the translation, you don't want to say bear because one might appear. So the derivation of the name Beowulf was the wolf of bees, which means bear, but you aren't saying bear. I forget where that where I heard that, but it was somebody talking about those sorts of like folk superstitions and things, and the wolf of bees.
Bear is a really interesting one because if you trace that back to Proto-Indo-European,
Mm-hmm.
it's bear just means brown.
Mm.
And some like historical linguistics have a theory that bears were so fucking terrifying. You didn't want to say what they were. So the brown, yeah.
Wow, wow! Don't name it. Don't name it. Yeah.
Uh,
Interesting. Wow. Yes, I guess I've always had a huge. There's always been a huge superstition.
oh, here's another fun one. This is dumb. We're going on tangents.
Yes.
Did you know that shark was a person before it was the name of a sea predator?
No, no.
Shark was actually a label for a shitty person before it became the toothy sea predator.
Wow.
So when you talk about someone, refer to someone as a shark, you're not calling them, not saying they're like the animal, right? Because it predates calling predates calling the animal that.
That's funny. Wow. Wow.
Sorry, no more nerdy.
No, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, it's interesting how much of that stuff, how you can trace beliefs and things through language, and there's a lot of that in in the setting for because Tolkien was so language obsessed. I think a lot of that made its way into D&D just because of that. Very funny. Wow. So what's that?
So, Age of Adventure has been popping by in our chats a lot recently. Did you know he's in Australia?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that helps with the time.
It syncs up with your time a little bit.
Yeah, it's only like maybe 1 hour time difference, depending on which side of the continent he's on. Yeah, it's like 1 hour time difference. Opposite season. So they're going into winter. We're going into summer, but they have a that was weird. So my daughter had a homestay in Australia just recently, and yeah, we could talk to her like right before bed or whatever. It wasn't like that 16-hour time difference. It was like literally 1 hour, and easy to stay in touch. But yeah, the weather is totally opposite. So it's very doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's great. In the cartoon stream, yeah, I get because that usually starts a little bit later than we do the weekly. So yeah, a lot of Australian chat members. That's cool. Very good. All right. Yeah. So Outgunned is coming up. So what are we doing? So how long do you imagine this will take the second adventure?
I think it depends on if you guys are good cops or bad
Oh, okay.
I think if you decide to be bad cops, like you've had enough of the shit, it could be a 2-session thing.
Uh-huh.
But if you decide to be good cops and do like your due diligence, it
Mm-hmm.
might be like a 3-session,
Oh, okay.
maybe.
Okay. So
But yeah.
we gotta
So
start.
we'll see how
Yeah,
you do.
nice. Yeah, we'll have to do some planning then. So what we're gonna do, what we want to go back to after, and I guess it depends on people's schedules too. What works, or we may have to.
After we do the Daggerheart,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, we should open it up. Yeah, so maybe we should. So anybody on the Patreon that's on the Patreon or YouTube that also can get on the Discord, maybe we should have like a big game, like because what do they? I think they say 3 to 6 players for Daggerheart. Yeah.
Everyone make animals.
Yep.
Just the zoo mission.
Right. Yeah, because with the Nexus, you can do that for free. So the character creation will be really easy to do. We can all just have an easy session 0. We won't have to have a 4-hour session 0. Did you see that itinerary in the core rulebook?
I commented on that in the chat. It was like it was depressing because it looked like an HR document.
Yeah. That's how I really felt. It felt like your group session, the itinerary for your group session sharing, at your therapy. Yeah. But that will be interesting though, because if we are trying to use this game, so it'll be if we do Daggerheart with a group of people that have never played together, we only know each other from online, we'll find out if this game is truly sensitive to everybody's particular things. It'll be funny to see, and I'll see how weird it can get. I think we just want to play Daggerheart as raunchy as possible to try to break it. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, we'll see. So far, Arturo has confirmed he has headphones and a mic.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so anybody with headphones and a mic that wants to get on our Discord is kind of part of the community. That might be really fun to give a shot to, because it would be a game I never would have thought we'd get any mileage out of. But the integration though will make it really easy, because we could even run it. Because there is Discord to Roll20 integration as well. So we can run it as an activity in Discord and import all the characters that we build externally in Nexus. So yeah, it could be pretty easy. And I can share, I've got like 24 slots to share with people, share all the documents and stuff. So you can have a set of the rules and then the cool character builder. And they're going to eventually add more stuff. So yeah, let's think about it. I'll take a look at the and maybe we can vote. Once we know who's interested, we can vote on which of the kind of frameworks we want to do. If we want to do like the weird post-apocalypse technology thing, or the trees are going to kill us, or we'll see what which setting sounds like the most fun, or which framework sounds like the most fun.
So it came with some prepared adventures, right?
Yeah, they call them frameworks. So
I thought that was the world style guide.
Oh, maybe there might be an adventure. Yeah, because towards the end I was really flipping through. But yeah, each of those kind of style guide things, they kind of recommend the state of so what it means to be highborn in this kind of framework, and then what the robots would be made out of, and what kind of animals would be present or whatever. So they kind of push you towards certain classes and heritages. But yeah, no, you're right, because I think that's the thing they also eliminated from the SRD is an adventure. Let me take a look at the table of contents and see what it says.
It seems like they would have given you some kind of quick start adventure.
Yeah, well, there is a free quick start with pre-gens. So I'll take a look at that. I might be able to use that as a starting point.
We just throw out the pre-gens and
no, I think it'd be fun to make the characters, but use the adventure with our create. Oh yeah, sorry, you mean throw away? Yeah, throw out. Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah, no, I think it's just the frameworks. They give you the maps and the frameworks. There isn't a adventure, but I don't think the frameworks are present in the SRD.
They kind of They kind of half-assed the world building, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. I think they just assumed. I don't know that. Yeah, you're really going to be into it because these campaigns. I'm surprised how much they give you with the campaign framework. They do give you a lot of kind of like adventure hooks and kind of what would be the motivation, what are the big threats and stuff. So it was real easy to take that and just kind of run with it. But yeah, it's not. You're doing a lot of work. There's no NPC generation or anything. There's just a lot of safety tools and the 2 whole pages on the combat wheelchair. Oh no, is Jason Momoa going to be in a combat wheelchair? This could get ugly.
Does it have like horns on the front of it? That'd be cool.
It would have to. Oh man.
Yeah, that felt like one of those things. Is like you probably could have just had a little thing with some pictures and a blurb about here's some ideas how you could do this. You didn't need 2 pages of stuff for
Yeah,
it. Like
and tables.
that reminded me when
Yeah.
when I was doing the unboxing of all that old D&D and RuneQuest stuff.
Mhm.
How Unearthed Arcana had like 4 pages just dedicated to halberds or
Right.
pole arms.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, they really, I mean, they included, and it was all stuff that had been like previously independently produced, like the safety tools, the lines and veils, the X card, like everything that's presented, they're crediting the original designer and probably just using their description of it. So maybe the combat wheelchair is the same thing, and they just like statted it out for their system. But they, like, are including the original designers because the list of people that contributed to these rules is a lot, and a lot of them are credited specifically for certain mechanics or certain rules contributions.
Hey, Will said something about all that resonated with me. Like, there's a flip side to having these like physics defying wheelchairs and stuff. Is it's also at the same time as being freeing for some people, it's also being dismissive of the real world challenges that a disabled person faces.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you start getting into weird ideas like, which I brought up on the chat. It was like, so if I, as someone who doesn't need a wheelchair, made a character who does, is that like, is that insensitive or weird? Like, it feels weird just thinking about it. So I feel like it might offend somebody,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I had a similar kind of thing where I was like trying to be creative, but I think I stumbled into very bad territory that might have not been making some people unhappy around the table. So we're playing Monster Hearts, as you do, and the group was a pretty queer group, mostly I think majority queer group, and the type of monster that I chose was it's a hollow, I think they called it. It's like a golem. You're like a reanimated, like creature made of like mud or ceramics or something, and I chose to be the the ghost of a dead child reanimated into the sculpture of my gay father's lover because I had to play as a gay character. Like I needed to play as a queer characters, but I was playing a straight dead little kid in the shape of a sculpture of a gay man. So it was very
there's like levels to that one.
it was but that's what Monster Hearts like just lends itself to, some really twisted stuff. But I think I was doing that same sort of thing. It was like, well, I don't want to try to play gay because I don't think I will. I think I might insult somebody trying to role play. So I was just trying to find a way to make a monster that would be so anyhow, Anyhow, it was a little girl an older guy's body, but that got weird. That of course always got weird.
Yeah.
But but Monster Hearts, those kind of games that like it is almost. I think like the second edition of that game did kind of become less welcoming and less inclusive to non-queer players. I think it really did kind of take its stand as this is a game where people can present themselves in a more freeing way, and you can't they don't want you LARPing as something that you're not. So a lot of people represented themselves as their real self that they don't present to the world. So that was interesting. That was an interesting combination of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I guess it just goes back to knowing your group, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's true.
it's anything with like this goes for the safety tools too. Like it's probably better and more effective to just really know your group well.
Yeah, and just have some.
I would not play a member of the LGBTQ community with total strangers.
Yes.
But I feel like I feel like I could play that way with you guys if I wanted to. And Terry, because he's a member of that community, but he's also Gen X, so we just don't give a fuck.
Right.
So I think he would be fine with it, but not necessarily people that don't know me. They might not be fine with it.
Right.
Because like, what's that other one that Evil Hat does? Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Right.
I kind of would like to try that sometime. And like,
how thirsty and how right.
Is that going to offend someone? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't. That is the interesting thing about a lot of these indie games. Well, I even thought about that with Coyote and Crow, the Native American setting, and even the creators said like we're all indigenous, we're all Native American creators, and this is our culture. Feel if you're from outside this culture, it's okay for you to play that, but it sounded like there was almost like a limitation. There was like, yeah, it's okay, but you're not getting the full experience. Or there was something weird about like how the creators kind of set that up. Yeah.
Like kind of like insinuating like you're not going to do it right. But go ahead and try.
Yeah. You'll be really bad at it, and probably insult a lot of people. But whatever. That's your yeah. So that was weird. So I think that is always a topic of debate if you're going to make a very specific and especially if you're making a game where nobody in your group could possibly represent that, but it is like a historical culture, it's something that has or does still exist. Is it okay to role play as them? Yeah, but then again, it gets to that thing like, how Hollywood casting has gotten so strange. It's like you're not going to find a talented actor that is a blind transgender, half Asian, half Latino actor. There's not that many actors out there. You're not going to find the person. If you've written this kind of character or this kind of character exists in a book, you can't find the person that's had that same life experience to plug in. That's why they're actors. That's why they have to. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say that I think Gary Oldman should play a little person, but it's like there should be some. Should be something in it. That was one of those amazing roles that doesn't get enough attention. Gary Oldman on his knees for an entire movie.
Or what's his name? Was the Oompa Loompa, right?
Oh yeah.
What's that English actor's name? I can't remember.
The guy, in every 90s, rom-com. Yeah, that's right. And they just he was like digitally miniaturized, right? They just put his head on like a little body. Yeah.
Which is weird because then you're also talking about, well, are we taking like character role opportunities away from a little person? Which reminds me of
the ladder pole.
when when Peter Dinklage had his little shit fit about Snow White and everything, and it's like, I understand the like moral response he's having, but I don't. I am confident there are little person actors who just want a fucking job.
Yeah.
And aren't thinking of it from the point of view of a guy who's now a very successful, very wealthy, accomplished actor. They need to get that opportunity, and his complaining could have taken that away from.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. And that is just that was a really weird move for him. I don't know what. And maybe maybe nobody talks to him anymore in that community because of doing something like that. Yeah, because I mean, if he was, saying that that kind of casting is just for the stunt or the visual of it, and people are going to be gawking at these little people and not treating them as actors. That's not true. That's never been true in any little people roles. I mean, maybe like Wizard of Oz, it was a little more questionable, but that was more a silly, fantastic movie. But like, if you think of little people in movie roles, it's never been the case that they've been cast just because that's, unusual and something to gawk at and treated as, ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. His stance was really weird, and it did just seem like a ladder pull. It's just like, yeah, no more little people in movies. I'm pulling up this ladder. I've made mine.
Yeah, because here's a guy who, he did. What's that movie called? That super indie train movie where he's
Station Agent.
Station Agent. Yeah. Very kind of heartwarming, but also serious indie kind of movie,
right?
And he's a really strong, portrayal in that. But he also did the angry author guy from Elf.
Oh,
right,
right.
And the reason that is funny is because the elf is making fun of how small he is and stuff.
Right.
So it's he. There's blood on his hands too. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's exploited his physical appearance. Yeah, for comedy reasons. Yeah. Yeah. That's very interesting. But I missed that. I mean, like seeing the old Time Bandits on streaming again. It's just like, oh man, I wish they made more ensemble movies like that, because it's just there aren't that many actors, and it'd be the little people actors. It'd be great to like establish those Kenny Bakers and like famous like those recognizable faces again.
Yeah, I saw an interview with the daughter of the guy. Oh, I can't remember his character's name now. But he was the one Time Bandit that had like the pretty beefy beard, and he was kind of the strong guy. I can't remember his name. But like, she was incensed by that whole Time Bandits thing. She was like, "Look, you're taking jobs away from from people by doing this." And,
Yeah, and I thought it worked really well. People have varying opinions of the Willow movie, but I thought that worked so well in Willow to be basically cast a whole community. Like we got to see hobbits, and it wasn't people shot at angles to make them look shorter, make them look shorter of stature. We actually saw a community of little people. Then what were they called in the Nellings?
The insulting name was Peck.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I think they were Nelwyn.
Nelwyn, yeah, that's right. That's right. You just remember the insults. That's right.
Well, because it's Val Kilmer saying it. Val Kilmer is like one of my favorite all time. Mad Mardigan is, the fantasy Han Solo.
Yeah. Yeah. It was that's funny too that they came up with a slur that had no connection to real life. It wasn't modification of anything, but it still sounded very insulting. Like it was that's
well. It is kind of a small unit of measure, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. That's right. A bushel and a peck.
Nice. No, yeah. There was a lot of as dated as it may seem to people, younger people now, that movie has a lot of creativity and the pacing is really
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah.
And then you take that creativity and pacing and you compare it to the TV show, and it's like, holy balls, how far we have fallen.
Yeah, that's true. That was a really weird. Yeah, and the tone of that and everything was very odd. But I think that's yeah. Amazon can't. That was Amazon, right? Yeah, they can't figure
No,
anything out. Oh, that was Disney.
Disney.
That was Disney. Oh, okay.
And remember, they banned it, like it's gone. They pretend like it doesn't exist now.
Oh, the Willow thing. That's right. That's right.
Oh, the Willow. I'm sorry. Were you talking about another one?
Yeah, I was talking about time. They did it. Remember they did
Oh,
a remake.
Time
Yeah, they
that
did a
was
remake. Of,
Apple, I think.
oh, Apple did that. Oh, wow.
It's still around. They didn't pull a Disney.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's funny. So we actually might be playing Daggerheart. That makes me laugh now. I'm glad I bought the bundle then, because that will make it incredibly easy to run. Yeah,
Let's do it.
It'll be
Let's
fun.
do it.
Yeah,
Shits and giggles, man.
and it'll be fun to do it as an experiment, like kind of all the way around, like using Roll20, playing with a Discord only group. Yeah, it'll be a good combination of things to see if that works, because that could make our actual play schedule much busier if we kind of like have a couple of different groups that can jump around and try different things. That would be fun.
And yeah, and if we like alternate maybe more multi-session things with some one-shots too, that can also really help with flexibility when people have scheduling problems.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's a good idea. Yeah, people that can jump on and fill in and stuff, and we can do one-shots. That's true. Oh,
and we got to do it before Arturo gets this job he's been talking about in the chat.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so we'll do it. We'll do it quick. We'll do it next. Yeah, if we get a chance. Yeah, and so we'll hit you up in the Discord. And anybody that's watching this that is a either on the Patreon, free or paid member, or is on the YouTube members, hit me up, the upturned tabletop at Gmail. If you can't get access, if the link didn't work, or you don't have the accounts, kind of merged. I think they want you to have YouTube and Discord be the same thing so that it automatically works. If none of that is working, let me know, and we'll get you on the Discord, and we'll figure out when we're playing Daggerheart. Oh man.
Robert said, if you guys need an out, I'll be standing by with Morkborg as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, we'll need that. That will be our
polar opposite.
We need a black metal sorbet. Yeah, right. Thank you, Rob.
I was talking to the Discord guys about somehow 40K got talked about, which happens a lot in the Discord, but it might be fun to run one of the Cubicle 7 40K TT RPGs as a one shot.
Yeah,
I still am very skeptical of how good those would be as ongoing games, but maybe as a one shot thing.
Oh yeah, I'd like to try those systems, because some of them are D100, but they've also done some that are now weird D6 systems and stuff. Yeah, so there's different variations, or maybe not D6, but they've done some of these other 40K systems. It's not all D100 as far as I remember. So, and yeah, we've got the old world is coming out, so they'll probably do like a quick start for that. Remember, so they're doing Warhammer Fantasy, and then they're doing the old world, and as
a totally different system for some reason,
right? Yeah. Right. So yeah, but some of that might be fun to do a quick one shot on. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be fun, and then that'd be a lot more games we get a chance to try out as well. We might find something that sticks. Oh, yeah, there was something you may have seen this. I think it's been out for a while, but did you ever I think it went through the Free League workshop. Did you see the Star Wars conversion of Twilight 2000, the Free League version of Twilight 2000? So somebody did like a Rebel soldiers fighting on a planet, like an outer rim planet, against the Empire, but it's the Twilight 2000 rules.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you that. That's really it's really cool.
That's
The
wow.
document is perfect. The way they present everything, they found some good art, and and they stat everything out. They give you maps and everything, so it's exactly like a Twilight 2000 location.
Ooh, that would be so much closer because we were talking about the Star Wars D6
Yeah,
system
yeah,
and how we'd kind of like to maybe play that. That would be good for standard, kind of sci fantasy Star Wars.
hmm
But that what you just described would be ideal for like an Andor type
yes,
game.
yes, yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's called Rebel Twilight, so it's probably available through the Free League Workshop. Yeah, Rebel
That
Twilight.
is
I'll
cool.
send you that. I'll send you that PDF. Yeah. But yeah, kind
Yeah,
of perfect. Oh yeah, so you brought it up. Yeah, so Andor, awesome. Yeah, awesome finale, awesome last 3 episodes. It like
oh, I was about to. I was getting ready. What? Go ahead. Say it.
no, it did everything great, and I really think it even did a good job. As I didn't like how Rogue One did it, how they led up to A New Hope. I thought that was kind of stupid, but uh, I really liked the connection, like him walking to the ship, and basically the next time you see him in Rogue One, he's still got that same attitude. He's like still got the same frame of mind. He like the actor did a really good job of his whole atmosphere when you first see him in the movie and when you last see him in the series, it matches. Like his not only his wardrobe matches, but his whole like attitude and whole like yeah he can't he's got to do this now. He's got to
Hmm.
he's got to be part of this thing. And I thought that was done really really well. The thing that frustrates me now is I wish they could take the horrible CG Peter Cushing and Carrie Fisher out of Rogue One because those
Yeah.
really make that movie terrible. They really break
Uh,
the movie up.
what they probably should do, but won't because it would cost money,
Yeah.
is go back and apply modern deepfake technology.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Just if that's probably easier than inserting new actors.
Right.
They could totally do that. I mean, there's that guy that does the joke things where it's Anakin and
Mm-hmm,
Qui
mm-hmm.
Gon watching Star Wars
Right, right.
and joking about it, and
Yep.
that looks pretty good.
Right.
So I
Mhm.
know Disney could do really good if they wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. I really wish that those things just stick out so badly. And I'm sure the people that worked on those, they were right at the cutting edge of what you could do at the time. But that stuff ages so poorly. And to see that waxy, Grand Moff Tarkin and stuff really takes you out. But that was fun. I really think. I mean, that it threw me off. It makes sense that the lighter, sillier kind, and I'm not silly, but the lighter kind of like showing what's happening at the top the top of the food chain in the rebellion and the funding and everything, like starting with that was good because then it could just get darker and more intense and everything. And I think they had good resolutions for the characters that we're not going to see again. And I was surprised how much I liked the Skarsgård character, that little flashback that they did where they showed him with the young the girl that he worked with at the museum at the art gallery, her kind of origin story, like her finding her stowed away on his ship and then kind of bringing her along. I was surprised how good that was. That was really compelling, and sometimes they really screw that stuff up. But they did it. It's in a nice minimal way that you like. Those flashbacks like then informed the scene that they showed when they jumped to the present day, and and then you knew also that they should do more of that to show why these people are so capable. Like when they show somebody very capable, if they would have had her without any of those flashbacks, infiltrate that hospital and, sorry, spoilers, but do what she did in the hospital, the lockdown hospital. If they would have done that without any setup of how she's been brought along in this, it would have seemed a little bit silly and like, wow,
Yeah,
she's like it's like too Mission Impossible. So
Yeah, well, they would have started throwing Mary Sue around.
yeah, yeah. But that was so good that they showed with the shit she's been through and the reality of what they're doing, what the rebellion is doing. She was faced with at a very young age. And I thought that young actress did a really good job of like being intense and but also, a kid, like vulnerable like a kid. Yeah, but
That
yeah.
I thought that actress played Clea was really good. Some people apparently there were some really dumb theories about this show that cracked me up. Like one theory that I think everyone's too embarrassed to admit they thought of it now, but
Mm-hmm.
they thought the baby at the end, spoiler,
Oh yeah.
uh,
Uh-huh.
was either Poe or Ray, and it's like, bruh, that's 35 years later.
Right, right.
Settle yourself down.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
one I just heard yesterday, which they thought Clea
Mm-hmm.
was Leia.
Oh, uh-huh.
So her cover identity was just adding a K to her name.
Of course. Perfect. Yeah, and I think that's the original trilogy's fault of making everything so connected and incestuous. Like everybody's related to everybody, and everybody's friends, and everybody's relatives, and it's all stupidly connected. So the fans now are anticipating that. They're like, okay,
Yeah,
so whose cousin is this, or who's
yeah, yeah.
yeah. They really want all of it to be so stupidly coincidental.
So I heard a cool contrast between what's his name, Tony Gilroy,
Hmm.
and the guy that does all the other ones.
Oh, the rep.
The guy that came out, the guy that came out of the animated
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. With the cowboy hat. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
know who you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah. Anyway,
Who loves Ahsoka so much that she could
yeah,
not die
yeah.
ever. Yeah, yeah.
So he loves playing with the Star Wars toys that we have, and Tony Gilroy literally told his writers that like he wants to leave more toys behind for people than what we use from the old. You know what I mean? Like he intentionally wanted it to be not a big self-referential Easter eggy kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm, hmm.
Dave Filoni, thank you, Arturo.
Yeah, Filoni. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think coming from animation is Dave Filoni's like biggest weakness because he's all wrapped up in. I mean, when you look back, I was watching somebody doing a retrospective of Clone Wars, and I don't know how they justify that as like good Star Wars content because it wasn't total trash, total kiddie trash, but it wasn't far from it, and it was just something that like prequel trilogy fans with kids could justify watching Star Wars with their kids and saying, "Oh, I'm watching Star Wars," and it's not totally ridiculous and little lessons about cooperation and eating your vegetables. Like that's it's so such a weak show, and it starts out as pretty bad kiddie trash, and even Rebels and stuff is like that. It's that same tone, and I realized that the animation has a weird flaw that Star Wars animation has a weird flaw that people have just accepted because they did that new series of like dark stories or dark tales and the on some underworld thing, and they started out an episode with the like putting Ventress to rest, like Ventress's dead body. I guess it was like the continuation of either the novel or something. But the her significant other or whatever they like sink her in a some sort of water at this dark pool at the beginning, and then she chooses to come back once she's gone to the other side, the other plane of existence. She chooses to come back, and now they're just going to tell a stupid, cheesy kiddie story. Like they immediately jump back into that weird tone. So they had this really somber, weird thing at the beginning that felt like, oh, maybe they're going to do something dark and weird with this setting and these characters. And immediately when she decides to come back, she has a weird little haircut. She has a very weird haircut, where she was never had hair before. And then immediately is involved with a little spunky little kid, and they're like running around, and it like immediately turns into kitty trash. Like they can't not do that, even though it's on streaming. Like it's not having to show on Cartoon Network or anything where they're dealing with advertisers and certain, requirements of broadcast. It's on streaming, and it's still, all that animation turns into that kitty trash. So they definitely just have cartoon, kids show writers doing that stuff. It's not, it's not Star
Yeah,
Wars. Yeah.
it is kind of a Disney wants to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to do the Disney kiddie stuff, but they also want to exploit all these older Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
yeah,
yeah,
it is weird. They are trying to do too much with a very simple property. Yeah. They're trying to get it to appeal to, different ages and stuff. And yeah, it's very funny.
I think I liked the 3 episode cycle thing. I think
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think for a well written serious story, that's a kind of a neat thing that they did.
Yeah. I think that works. It solves the weird problem of having like a season long story arc. That's what like Book of Boba Fett and the second and third season of Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and stuff did. Having this like whole series story arc is not good. There's so much filler, there's so much bloat, and there's so much like just doing nothing with the story. But when you have those like 3 episode arcs, it is like a little bit longer film format, a little bit longer movie format, so you can have that same intensity, and things can change by the end. Yeah.
Yeah, Boba Fett is a perfect example of like, ta- okay, they should have just recast him. Like, I'm happy for that dude to get a paycheck and
Right.
whatever, but he, especially early on, like I think he gradually got in more shape, but early on, that
Yeah.
homeboy was you might as well put me in that breastplate.
Right. Yeah.
He was out of shape, or he had a shape, and that shape was
Yeah.
like pear.
Right.
But beyond that, he's literally the most notorious bounty hunter in the galaxy. He's come back from the dead.
Yeah.
He's become a crime lord, but it's all just, we're a kinder, gentler organized crime now.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
That was really weird. Yeah, they just destroyed any like enigma or anything about that character, any weirdness. His desire to disintegrate people, all of that is just gone. And how his the assassin character that he saved, I think he saved, and he was working with, like how she was so much more competent than he is. She basically wrapped up the entire storyline herself, just assassinating everybody. Like that was really poorly handled. The I can't think of the actress's name, but yeah, that was silly. Very silly. But yeah. So, Rebel Twilight. I think you should take a look at it. I think that might scratch the itch, the Andor itch. That
I ran that Twilight 2000 Free League system for my local group a little bit, and I really liked that. Like their ability, they put a lot of effort into it. You could tell because they took the Free League system, the Year Zero, and they molded it to try to emulate that military feel that the old Twilight 2000 had, and they did a really good job. Like I was really impressed.
nice. Oh, Rob had to leave. No Star Wars talk. Claren is saying, yeah, you can't ask a bunch of Gen Xers that, Abyss. What was the Abyss's question?
I'll look that over. That might be a fun thing down the
yeah.
line to do, like a little, just set up a little mission and we can try it out. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Does it have character creation too?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's got everything. It's got vehicles and all the weapons and everything. It's got
Ah,
maps.
and this is on drive-through?
Yeah, it's where did I get this? Somebody just linked to it on their Google Drive, so I'm not sure if it's like a free thing that they did. Or, it looks like it went through workshop. Let me double check because it's very polished.
Man, ever since drive-through changed their interface, it's so crappy.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. Yeah, not an improvement. Oh yeah, that's right. There's too many.
Daggerheart
What's that?
is their number one bestseller.
Yeah, yeah, it went right to that. Well, that stream that Will and I did is getting a ton of traffic. I don't know if people
You
want.
put boobs on the
I,
thumbnail.
I specifically wanted to go as like opposite. They were doing it so safe, so I wanted to make it as as raunchy as possible to undermine that sweet that sweet purple inclusion they were doing. Uh, Yeah, I don't know. It's the Free League Workshop, right? Yeah, I don't know what the
It's not on drive-through near as I can tell.
okay. Yeah, the name is tricky because there's a bunch of stuff named that.
Twilight Rebellion is some vampire supplement.
Ooh, that's what nobody needs. Yeah, I'll try to find where yeah, this was just a somebody posted it on a Google Drive, so it might be something that somebody just did for free and it was floating around. But yeah, but it's using the Free League rules. It's got everything. Yeah, it's got character creation because it's got the roles: gunner, kid, mechanic, civilian, grunt.
Oh yeah, if you find it, send me a link. I want to check that out.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would avoid no lightsabers, so it'd be a lot of fun to play in that world. Yeah, there's no link or credit in the. They do credit. That's nice when they use some like Fantasy Flight artwork or anything. They credit it. Oh no, it's old. That's why I saw this. It's Old Dog Games. Yeah, Old Dog Games did this. So the Deathmatch Island people did it.
Oh really?
Yes, that's why that name was like stuck in my head. It's like I just saw something by them. Yeah, this is done by Old Dog Games.
Is it on their website?
It might be. It must be. Yeah, so Old Dog dot Games.
Oh man, their website is annoying.
Wait. There we go.
I don't see it.
Yeah, so maybe it was just an early side project. Yeah, yeah, Old Dog.
Oh, they do have a hut space map in their resources for some reason.
Yeah. I
Oh,
wonder.
maybe they got a cease and desist or
They might
something.
have. Yeah, right. It's not on here at all. Yeah, Hut Space. You're right. Yeah, maybe they were asked to take it down. It's just like their other stuff. It's really laid out well. So, and maybe because of the Star Wars IP, it couldn't go through workshop. It couldn't go through the Free League workshop. But it exists. I'll show you. I'll send it.
We should do it so we get a cease and desist.
Yay, cease and desist. Yeah, right. Uh, yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, so they're calling their hut space map a collection of assets for running scum and villainy.
Scum and Villainy, isn't that knockoff Star Wars game?
It's the Blades in the Dark.
Like
Yeah, it's kind of Outer
like
Rim
Star
Blades in the
Wars
Dark.
with the serial numbers
Yeah,
filed off.
yeah, yeah. By yeah, they're using the Forged in the Dark system. Yeah, yeah, that's funny. I went. Yeah, I bet
If
they did.
if you find it, let me know because Google doesn't seem to know it exists.
Right, right. I will. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, we got some we got some fun things to try. Oh, I think yeah, I think I could just drop it to you. It's not that big.
Cool.
I could just hand it off. Ah, well, nice. Yeah, so we will be back soon with some more Outgunned. Southbound, right? Yeah, Southbound is a subtitle.
Indie Heat Southbound.
Yes, yes. Indie Heat. Indie Heat 2, Southbound. Or no numbers in your
No numbers.
okay, okay. Nice. All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate you co-hosting with me. This was a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and yeah, we'll get back to it soon. And I can't believe we might actually play Daggerheart. Arturo, it's all your fault. But yeah, it'll be a good experiment. I really want to see if, like, just playing with people that are attracted to the the channel and the podcast and stuff might be a good. We might find some good synergy. It'll be funny. All right. So, yeah, thanks again for all the patrons and members on the channel. And yeah, you can subscribe to the channel to find out when we go live. So if you want to see some Outgunned, you get a notification. Hopefully, they seem to be working. I don't know if they figured it out, but it seems to be working okay recently. And we will be back again next week. So take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.